Okay, this is the Connections Over Coffee, our time to rise, and we've been chatting a little bit about writing this morning, and then we segued into remodeling bathrooms. But anyway, oh, and missing Uber rides and taking 4 hours to get from the airport to the house. Yeah, so we've all shared a little bit about our struggles this week, but it's all good. And gosh, we all have virtual backgrounds on this morning. Carmella, I love yours. You look like you're sitting in the garden.
Oh,
And look, the flowers, and oh, it looks beautiful. And Debbie, I love yours too. You're in the library. I love that. All the books and the tables back there.
it's
And
inspiring.
it's very inspiring. Debbie is in the middle of writing a book, and I haven't launched mine or started writing my second book, but I am getting ready to start. And I was just sharing with Debbie and Carmella that we are starting a writer's mastermind the third Monday of every month at 12 noon. So if anybody's listening to this and is interested, just get in touch with me. And I'll just put in the chat how to contact me. And for those of you that have been joining in the past, you realize that Carmella is my co-host, my co-mod on this particular call. And so whenever I upload these recordings into our platform, where you can find those, and again, you go to kathybinner.com and just scroll down to Connections Over Coffee, and you can tap into the free meetups and listen to the recordings. I always put how to connect with us there. So if you want to connect with me or with Carmella, you can find it there on the recording. So thank you so much for listening. So anyway, I'm in Florida. I'm in the Sarasota area this morning. And gosh, it's just been a fun time for me because once we got down here, the weather was, of course, very nice. And so we got out and I had got some walking done because I haven't been doing any walking. For those of you that have been following my story, I've had some back issues with a herniated disc. And so I've had some decompression treatments. And so now we're walking again. I did almost 5 miles the other day. So it feels good to get back to that. I'm in a weight loss journey, as I've been forever. For those of you that struggle with that, know that that's a never ending saga. You're always in that journey because it's just so much more fun to not worry about it. And I love all the things that, of course, is on the not to eat list. I love chocolate, and there's this great chocolate factory right on the Bradenton Pier, and they have turtles, chocolate turtles as big as my face. And oh my gosh, last year at Valentine's Day, I told Mark that's what I wanted for Valentine's Day. So he actually got me up a little red box with this great big chocolate turtle. And that was my Valentine's present. And I love those. And along with everything else in there, I gained 10 pounds just walking past the open door because you can smell the chocolate, when you walk by there. Yeah. So anyway, and I love crepes. I found a great little crepes place at Easton and back in Columbus. That there's a great little crepes restaurant right there at the corner of Brio's. And so Mark and I snuck in there the other day, and I had a Nutella and banana crepe. So yeah, I'm kind of partial to all of that chocolate flavor. So that's my struggle. So anyway, but I am down 27 pounds. I've got about 23 more to go. Yeah. My overall goal was to drop 50. I'm a little behind schedule, but hey, I'm still in there. I'm still hanging in there. But then I went through the whole back thing right in the middle of my journey, of my weight loss journey. And so it kind of brought everything to a halt because I couldn't really exercise or walk or do any of those things. So I'm trying to get back to that. We haven't gotten the bikes out yet. We're talking about maybe doing that before we come back, because all the trails down here are pretty flat, whereas they are not back in Ohio. But down here, the trails are pretty flat. And so we're talking about maybe getting the bikes out at some point here before we come back home. So, but we're here another week. I did meet with some of my girlfriends down here that I've had a relationship with for some time, and they're the ones that prompted me to launch this writers mastermind, because they're ready to get on with it in writing their books. And so this is going to be kind of fun because we'll have more than one person in that writers group that's in the process of writing. And so for those of you that are again hearing this, just know that when we get into the masterminds, whatever mastermind group you decide to join in with us, It is confidential. We don't share, because sometimes you bury your soul a little bit in those smaller, more intimate groups. And so just know that whatever we talk about is confidential between us in the group. And so that I hope that gives you the freedom to share. That's the whole point, is we want to give you the freedom to share. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Carmella, and Carmella, bring us up to date with what's going on with you and where you are coming to us from today.
Well, good morning to everyone. I have missed, I look forward to our connections over coffee and everyone sharing. I'm coming to you today from Lima. I'm in the office today because someone has to do the work. But I'm only probably going to be here half a day today and probably work from home, transfer the calls and do the rest of the work from home. But it's been quite, as I said, past few days, busy. Farley was checking on our home. They're in Maryland. He's like, you want to go? And I'm like, well, I can't go because I have obligations here in Ohio. And I says, you have a free calendar. So he'll be back Sunday.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I had to call our daughter and I'm like, you're going to have to pick your dad up from the airport there in Columbus because I'm going to be at church. He gets in at 11. But he has a long flight coming home. Normally it's a straight shot, but he has like a layover in Chicago, which is really
Oh my.
crazy.
Yeah, they're going to overshoot Columbus and then he's got to come back.
Exactly. So he'll be there arriving at 11. So I said after church, I will head straight there and maybe spend the day with Jade and Melvin. And I says, maybe we could, I've been wanting to get our pictures taken. We haven't had family pictures in a while. And I would have loved to found someone in Columbus. And Jade's like, Mom, I really don't know too many people. The ones she did know, her friends that did it, they're not doing it anymore.
Ah,
So I'm like, so I'm going to spend the afternoon there in Columbus when I pick him up because I have to work cameras and sound and the projector for church. Our young kids are doing their Christmas program. And I had a 3-hour practice last night. But they're so sweet in my heart. And just so you guys know, I've adopted another baby, a grandbaby. She's 5 months old, cutest thing. And she loves her Mama Mella. I'm Mama Mella. So
oh, don't you love
parents are
that?
like, her dad's like, you really have her spoiled. And I'm like, well, that's my prerogative. I told my daughter, I says, unless you guys nail it down, get married and have kids, by the time you decide to have children, you may luck out on all of this attention and spoiling. So
I love it.
Probably not. I am actually getting back into like my oils and things and business and trying to work and narrow things down. Came up with a logo for myself finally.
Okay.
So things, slowly I'm trying to organize and revamp. So come 2023, there's no excuses. I've had to kind of weed out some of the negativity and toxicity that tends to rear its ugly little head. So I'm just getting back and focusing. So,
I get it. You have to tune that stuff out because it's always going to be there.
Yeah. So it's a good thing. So I'm doing that and Mom's still the same. So I'm trying to just kind of, I hosted Thanksgiving, which was fabulous. And Christmas, I told everybody, I'm like, I love you all, but I don't want anybody to come over. I go, well, if you come over, you have to come over prior to Christmas. So I told them Friday's my deadline because I thought we could play games or do something afterwards. But this year, I think that, to spend time within your immediate families, like as far as like Danny and Nathan, they have that time with their kids, that because it's just, and it's more that way you just kind of relax. And
because when you're hosting, even though it's family and you want to enjoy the family, if you're the one hosting, you still have your mind on, does the coffee need remade, and does does the punch need refilled, and or whatever it is that you're serving. And sometimes you can't really be present in some of those really great conversations because you're trying to make sure that everyone else is having a good time. So
and that's what happened. I forgot to take pictures at Thanksgiving. I'm like, and Danny is like, I thought you were going to take pictures. And I go, well, let's see. You guys all decided that you liked my punch that I just found and threw together. That good thing I bought extra and I had to make more of it. I tried 2 new recipes of snacks. One was like, you take the Cheez-Its and you add like, you know, the oil that you would get and you'd put on your popcorn that's like the butter flavor.
yeah.
Well, I used that instead of real butter, and I put like a half a cup and poured over Cheez-Its, entire box. And then I added some Hidden Valley Ranch Fiesta seasoning. So it's got that little kick to it. Bake it in the oven for like 15-20 minutes. And oh my God, that became a hit. Everybody loved it, to the point my daughter's boyfriend, there was like 2 small Ziploc baggies left. And he took both. Farley's like, I thought there was more left. I'm like, I'll have to make you more. And Danny liked another one that she tried to make it. And she goes, mine turned out horribly. I don't know how you did it. And I'm like, I can do it with one hand tied behind my back and my eyes closed. And I've only made it twice. But you take oyster crackers, you melt like, I think, a stick of butter in a pan, add brown sugar and some vanilla, and let it boil. Let it boil. I know, just found it out there on Pinterest. And you pour that over your oyster crackers, mix it up, bake it for like 15 minutes. And it's like a sweet and salty type little snack. She's like, oh my gosh, it was so good. The kids love it. She goes, mine were soggy. I said, don't know what happened, but it's that quick and easy thing. So it's fun. And I like the holidays. So, and I'm hoping that I like to bake and do things. Not that I need it. So Kathy, like you, I need to.
I get it. I get it.
Health wise, my husband, he had his colonoscopy, had to do one on this past Saturday. And normally they're not open on Saturdays, but I think they were so busy. And he was supposed to go every 5 years. Well, this time it was really hard. They could not get an IV to go in. They tried both arms, both legs, and a foot. Nothing. They ended up giving him a shot in the arm of fentanyl. My daughter freaks out. She goes, doesn't that kill people? And I'm like, well, I'm sure if you mix it with the wrong stuff and
or overdose on it.
Right. But good thing he came back. Everything was clear this year. And he doesn't have to go back for 10 years now. Which was
really good news.
And
good news.
His doctor is like hilarious. He's sweet. Normally he wears his Ohio State. And I said, you're not wearing an Ohio State cap. And he goes, listen, we got to see how they end up with the Ducks. And then I'll play. But I was joking with him and he told Farley, he goes, you know, we can do this exam without giving you anything. He says, be a tough man. And it's like, Farley's just laying there like, I don't think I want to try that right now. But I said, can I get him to sign some papers? You know, he won't know if he's out of it, you know, and he goes, don't get me involved. He would call me to testify and I can't lie. And I'm like, but can't you lie for this cute little face? And he goes, not even for your cute little face. But it's been fun, you know, I've just been trying to do crafts and just, you know, take care of me. I've been trying to do some self-care with myself.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. And one of my best self-care, and I know it may sound like such a tiny little thing, but have you gals ever heard of dry brushing?
I tried it for the first time. Somebody bought me brushes. I did it the wrong way. They go, no, it's supposed to go towards your heart.
Yes.
The opposite. I'm like, oh.
Well, and I don't know if it matters which direction you brush, but you find a natural bristle brush, and I have one that's like a shower brush that's on a handle. You can buy them, you know, any drugstore, and I do the natural bristles is what they recommend. And then before you get into the shower, I see Debbie looking confused. Before you get into the shower, You simply start with your extremities and you brush upwards towards your heart. So in your arms, up your legs, and you finally finish with your torso. You finish around your heart. And you just dry brush all your skin, your face, your ears, your neck, everything, especially ladies right here. Don't forget right here.
Yeah.
And dry brush. So what it does is it brings the blood flow to the surface of your skin. And you will see a difference in your skin. And you will see a difference not only in the texture of your skin, but the tightness of your skin. And if you are in the process of losing weight like I am, you will actually see your skin will shrink better with your weight loss, so that you don't have the excess skin and the excess, where you see some gals that lose a lot of weight and now they look kind of wrinkly, and you're like,
Yeah.
I know they're healthier, but they look older because now they look wrinkly. Well, if you lose weight too quickly, your skin doesn't have a chance to shrink, to catch up. So you only want to lose a couple of pounds a week. You don't, we all say, oh, I'd like to lose 5 pounds a week. No, you don't, because your skin can't keep up, and then you've got another whole set of problems at the other end. So you want to slow that weight loss down and take a year to lose the amount of weight that you want to lose. And so once you wrap your mind around that, see, then it becomes more doable, because now you're only talking, maybe 5 pounds a month, not 5 pounds a week. And so now, see, it's much more doable. And you don't feel like, you don't feel like such a failure when everybody else has lost, 10 pounds the whole month and you've lost 5 because 5 was your goal. See, so now you feel like I met my goal. But dry brush every day before you take your shower, because you want to do it when your skin is totally dry. A lot of times out of the shower, you still are a little moist from being in the shower. So you dry brush before your shower, and then moisturize with some sort of a lotion. My favorite is a vitamin E cream. And so you can buy it again at any drugstore in the skincare aisle, in the lotion aisle, and get a good vitamin E. I've got a great body wash. I use just an Olay off the grocery store shelf, an oil of Olay body wash. And then I finish off with that vitamin E cream. And what happens then is that your skin feels good, you feel good, and you feel like you've been to the spa. And it's an amazing feeling. And again, I love in the morning sometimes when I first, because I'm a shower person at night. Some folks like to shower in the morning. Some like to shower before they go to bed. I shower before I go to bed. So in the morning, I'm ready to get dressed. And so I oftentimes will dry brush right before I get dressed. And it feels like you've had a workout. Try it. It feels like you've actually had, because it just invigorates and it makes you feel like you're on. And so if you're having a hard time getting started in your mornings, that dry brushing is a great way to just kind of rev yourself up and you feel like you're ready to go. And try it and see if I'm not right. But it's one of those things that it's such a small little thing. And so then when I travel, and of course I'm traveling now, so I got to show you. So then when I travel, I wanted something that would fit in my suitcase. And so I bought this, and it's got the little handle on the back. And it's got the little nylon knobbies, so it kind of stimulates your skin as well. But these are all natural bristles. And so I just pop that in my suitcase, and that way I have my brush with me everywhere I go. So again, it's just a tiny little thing, but it makes a big difference.
So you just brush up.
Yeah, I brush in circles, but you want to start, on your arm and come up, and then around your feet and come up. And then I do my face and my neck and all of that. And then you do your torso last.
Okay.
Yeah. So they say just brush toward your heart. Yeah.
I have a question for you ladies. What about the salt things? I just heard from a friend that in the Columbus area, they have like these saltwater pods.
Mm-hmm.
That's supposed to be really good as far as inflammation and de-stressing and a lot of things. And of course, when they first told me, I'm like, you mean you're going to put me in a shell, close the lid, and I'm floating in water? I don't know if I'll like that, but they say it's supposed to be really good. And I hadn't heard about it, but they said it's in the Columbus area. And I'm like, well, it's not like it's that far from me. I might consider trying that.
Yes. Have you heard of the salt caves? where they're doing in a spa will open up in a storefront somewhere, and they actually put in a room where they have these the whole lining is like these salt rocks. And so now think about it. When you have hard water at your house, the first thing that you do is you buy a water softener. And the way that the water gets softened is it runs it through salt.
Right.
Salt is a
Mhm.
softener. So in my cosmetology days, when we would do pedicures, we would do a salt pedicure, a salt scrub, because the salt is what softens the skin.
Oh,
And now the problem with trying to do it at home, and just so you know, salt has, and I'll say it so that it makes sense. Salt has sharp edges,
Yeah. Yes, it
you
does.
know, it's gritty, which is why the salt scrub works really well. You know, it takes all the dry skin off, you know, and your skin feels really fresh and soft and all that. But it can leave a residue in your tub or wherever you're using it, which is why then a lot of folks have said, use a sugar scrub, because sugar dissolves totally and it gives you some of the same effect. But if you use a sugar scrub, it won't ruin your plumbing because it'll dissolve totally in you know, and go down the drain. If you use, because using it in the shower is the easiest, to use a salt scrub or a sugar scrub. So that's your first line. But as far as soaking in the salt water, yeah, that's it. It definitely has the benefits of softening your skin, and just the idea of floating in water is very relaxing, which is why everybody wants to go to the beach or go to the pool or whatever, because that's very relaxing when you can just totally go limp and you know, and relax your body. So because many of us, we never do that, you know, all day we're like, go, 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 you know, and we never do really relax. So it is very relaxing, and the salt is very skin softening. So yes, it's a great way to pamper yourself.
So it's a pod that you actually get in and then they zip you close?
yeah, it closes up. But from what I hear, the temperature of the water matches the temperature of your skin. So you don't have to do anything. You literally, I guess the salt, the Epsom salt that they put in, you're literally floating
Wow.
and it's relaxing. So it's kind of like, I mean, I guess you can have it open from what I was told, but by closing it, it's that dark. So it's almost like, you know, when you close your eyes and it's dark, it's
Mhm.
relaxing because that light is not stimulating.
Huh.
But yeah. So my girlfriend said they have, one of the places there has a special where you buy one, you get one free, and it's like $89 for like an hour. So she goes, let's go and split it. And I'm like, well, I don't know. So I'm still
Well,
debating.
you can always try it once and decide if you like it.
Yeah, that's true.
Ask for a Christmas gift.
That's true. Look, I asked my husband for a vacuum. I saw it in an infomercial, and he sent me a text and said, you really want me to buy a $450 vacuum? I go, but it's on sale for $150 off. So you're really not paying that? And he goes, it's still beside the point. He likes to say it's a difference without a distinction.
Well, and I get it, but hey, but if that's what you really want, I mean, sometimes Mark really wants a particular tool. That's what he really wants. I said, yeah, but that means you have to work more, but that's what he really wants.
It's their tool. That's their toy.
Yeah.
And I always like to clean. And this vacuum supposedly, you know how sometimes when you vacuum and like if you have animals or something, maybe an odor may still be in the carpet that sometimes blows out. Well, this has a neutralizer, which neutralizes the smell. Plus, most vacuums, you know, the rollers, how like hair will get attached, you have to clean that off. The hair does not roll and stick to it like that.
Oh,
I can see why you want that.
It's a shark. I already have like two sharks. I have one at the office that I use and another, but I mean, I like those things, you know, and we have, you know, our cat Delilah. So I'm like, well, this would be something that's nice. And it comes with all these extra tools. And then plus it has a thing that you can dry steam and clean the floors, your regular floors.
wow.
So
Do
it's
you
the
have an
Cadillac
upstairs?
of vacuums.
I'm
But you
sorry.
know what? Doesn't it feel good when you have everything cleaned up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When you finally have everything clean and everything put away and everything looking nice, you're just like, then you can go get in that salt scrub and relax.
Look, I'm home by myself. Like I said, I'm going to a Christmas party tomorrow, but I plan on, when I go home today, sorting through. It was trash day, so I had to do everything, get that out, take it to the end of the road. But I'm gonna shampoo carpet and deep clean. That way I can just kind of relax and woosa a little bit. My husband will be surprised when he comes home, because some things I'm just probably gonna pitch, and I may have to I may bring it to the office and put it in the dumpster here, so then he can't go look.
He won't miss it. Don't say anything. He won't miss it.
He probably won't.
Yeah. Now
Somebody
here's a
after
little,
my own heart.
well, here's a little trick. If you want to throw something away, rearrange the furniture and then they don't even notice what's missing.
Oh, see, that's good. Perfect. I've been known to do that. Well, when Jade was, I think she was in college, she came home on break, and she was home helping me. He went to bed. We were up all night. He doesn't hear anything. We're listening to music on the TV that's on YouTube. We totally rearranged the furniture and painted the walls.
While he slept.
He slept. And it took us a couple hours with the two of us. She was on one side. He comes in the next morning and he's just kind of like, what's am I in the right house? I'm like, go
Did you
away, go
move
to
me
sleep.
while
You
I was
never know what you're
sleeping?
gonna wake to.
I love that. I
That's a
love
great
that.
story.
That is a great story. I love it. Poor Carly. He's like, I must have come to the wrong house.
Some days he feels like that. I'm like, welcome.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I do want to give you a little pointer though, Carmella. I've been following your Facebook post where you're doing your oils.
Uh-huh.
And Debbie will get this because Debbie's in my Build a Better Business mastermind. We talk about storytelling as your marketing. And the only thing that I see that you're missing is a little story on your post. If you would tell a little story on your post, like I remember the first time I discovered this oil and this is what I used it for you. Because a lot of times if you're just posting, here's the special, here's the oil, here's the price or whatever, people don't connect. But if you tell a little story, they connect with like, yeah, I have that same problem. I should probably get that. So, but just doesn't have to be a bunch, just a sentence or two.
Okay, that's good
Just
to
a-
know. Thank
Yeah,
you.
just a little story on how you came across that particular oil or what it means to you or why it's your favorite or just some little story. And I think you'll see a little more engagement in your post.
I know there was one, I did put something where it's like, but I don't think it was really a story, but I was like, oh, it would be so nice and relaxing, with like some of the blends, just to add a particular drop to your coffee or whatever, and just kind of relax, which I've done that because, and my daughter told me, she's trying to get me to do on Instagram a lot. I'm thinking, okay, I'm trying to get to that. She's like, Mom, just take a picture, it's diffusing. She was telling me how to angle my camera on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, just take a picture. And then the oil, she says, that's your story. Do a reel, something, where it's like life, because people are into the stories and reels where it's something that's kind of interactive, where who wants to sit and read? She's like, me personally, that's just too much. I don't mind seeing things here and there, but people are bored with sitting and just reading something, you're not gonna get anything. But when they see something, then that's something that she's like, maybe do a thing where you're like, you're going to do a diffuser, diffuse something and just show on camera you pouring the water in there, how many drops, and it's like, do it where it's like 2 of this and then show it. And she's like, and then just kind of like inhale it, and have some sort of expression. I'm going, I feel like I need to go to acting school now. And she goes, it's not that deep. But I do appreciate the tips.
Yeah. Now, do you have an Instagram account already?
Yes, I do. I have 2. I have my regular personal one, and then I had started one for like the oils, so I don't know. I'm
On the
thinking-
regular one, when you post over on Facebook, you can go into your settings and have it automatically post on Instagram every time you post on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yes, and so every time you post on Facebook, it'll automatically post the exact same picture, the exact same little paragraph, whatever it is you type. It'll automatically put it over onto Instagram for you.
Okay.
And so that way, that's at least one more step where at least you're getting a presence over there.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like
Yeah,
if-
and you might have to Google, how do I get my Facebook to post it over onto, and you'll find a YouTube video somewhere of somebody showing you how to do that, on where to find it in settings. But you just go into your settings and it'll say, do you want to share it? And then you have to put in your Instagram
okay.
URL so that it knows where to send it to, but it'll automatically do it. Now, I find if I get too involved or if I post a video, or it won't, it's just a paragraph and a picture and it'll automatically post it over there as well.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
But at least it gives you a presence over there. Yeah.
Yes.
Without you having a second thing you have to do every day.
That's a good
Right.
idea.
Yeah. So it keeps you up front in everybody's mind that way. But I think if you add a little story in with your post, I think you'll get a little more involvement there.
I thought my thinking was nobody wants to hear about my experiences. So it's
No,
more-
everybody wants to hear about your experiences because
Yeah.
everybody's in the same situation you're in, and they don't, when they see these oils, they don't know how to use them. They don't know if they've not gone down that path of essential oils, they have no idea how to use them, when to use them, where to use them, how much to use, how expensive it's going to be. They have no idea. So they have a tendency to just scroll on past that. Because again, like Jade says, it takes a lot of energy to go back and explore that.
Right.
And so you have to, as I like to say, and I hope everybody listening to this later takes this the way I mean it, you have to kind of dumb it down. Because we all have so much going on in our heads that you have to really bring it down. And so something like, and Debbie's heard me say this before, my favorite phrase is, I don't know about you, but as for me, because that way you're not saying you need to do this, or I think you should do that. You're just saying, well, I don't know about you, but as for me, and you see how that softens it up, but you're basically saying you need to do this. But you're saying it in a way that's not offensive. So I like to start my sentences like that, like, well, I don't know about you, but as for me, I love this oil because this is my problem and this is how it helped me. And I only need to use like 3 drops and a bottle lasts me like 6 months. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, so that's how she's using that. I have that same problem. And hey, I can pay that if it's going to last for 6 months. You see how I answered several questions that might have been running around in their heads without them having to ask me.
Okay, yes.
I don't know about you, but what?
But as for me,
But as for
yeah,
me,
I don't know about you, but as for me, I love to use a dry brush and finish it off with some bath salts.
here you go.
I don't know about you, but as for me, I love this one essential oil because every time I get a headache and I put 2 drops in my diffuser, my headache is gone within like a half an hour. And it lasts me for like a year because I'm only using 2 drops.
Yeah.
So you see where I'm going with that, and you can just kind of tell a little story in a sentence or two, and it really makes a difference to your readers. So now instead of your readers seeing, buy this oil on sale this month, 2 for 1, with a beautiful picture, now they're seeing how you're using it, why you're using it, how much you're using of it. So it's all those questions that your audience might have, and it goes back to when I'm coaching on all of my lanes, whether we're writing a book, whether we're building a better business, whether we're monetizing a blog post, doesn't matter what we're doing, whether we're investing in real estate and doing a short-term rental or a mid-term rental or a long-term rental. You have to enter the conversation in your audience's mind instead of them entering the conversation in yours.
Hmm.
You have to enter the conversation in your audience's mind. And that's always the tough part. So for many of us, the same questions that they have are the questions that we had when we started, but we've passed those, we've gotten those answers, and we forget that the rest of the audience is still stuck back there with those questions. You know, when we started writing a book, we were like, oh my gosh, how do you write how do you get published? Well, once you get published, see, you've already passed that question. So now you have to go back and remember that the biggest part of your audience, they don't know how to get published. So I don't know about you, but as for me, I love to self-publish, and here's why. Or I don't know about you, but as for me, you know, I decided that I needed to have a grammar editor because my grammar is terrible. You know, so all of a sudden, see, you're entering the conversation in their minds, depending on who your audience is, on who you're talking to. And so when you think about essential oils and you think about who is the audience for essential oils, my guess is again, we talk also about in our Build a Better Business, how to create our avatar of a customer. You know, what does that customer look like? So when you close your eyes and think who would buy essential oils? Well, I would think the majority of your clients are probably women. You know, you don't want to be so stereotypical that a man would never buy essential oils. But my guess, if you look at the statistics, is that it's probably women. It's probably women that have a little bit of spendable income to spend on oils. It's also women that want to have better health. They want to have some self-care. They want to take care of themselves. They want to have a beautiful home. Am I painting the right picture, Carmella?
Mm-hmm. And
you know, so
now I'm also thinking about like mothers, because I guess when you look now, more the new now generation, the ones that are becoming parents, like my daughter and stuff, they're into everything natural and
mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely, because they're
like, I want my child, you know, I'm not giving, because, you know, I even, you know, met girls like, okay, I do not want them vaccinated with this because I don't want this. I want them to have everything natural, even with right down to the food.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. And that's, and so that's a big plus. And that's exactly, Carmella, you know, where your audience is. And that's also where Debbie's audience is that they want to go organic these days.
Exactly.
They want to be more healthy because they see what's happened to the planet and what all of these chemicals have done to our planet and to our health. And they can see that. So they're trying to make a difference. And so again, if you can enter the conversation in their minds, you know, I don't know about you, but as for me, I want to go all organic because everything we touch these days is full of chemicals. And so I like using natural essential oils. See, so now all of a sudden, see, you're appealing to that group, to your audience. So again, just enter the conversation in their minds. And once you can paint a picture of what that avatar looks like, then every single time you write, picture that in your mind. Picture that young mom that wants to go organic, or that lady that has some spendable income that you know, again, wants to go green, you know, and make her home her sanctuary for her and her family. And so always picture her in your mind when you're starting, because that's who you're writing to. And my guess is that you are writing to an earlier version of you, because it's what got you interested in what it is that you're doing. And so remember your questions, remember your struggles, remember where you were when you first started getting into the essential oils or the going green or whatever it is that you're into, or the organic farming or the, you know, the homesteading, whatever it is that you're doing, and picture yourself. That's your audience. That's answer her questions. Answer her questions before she has a chance to ask them. Is that helpful?
Very, very helpful. I have all my little notes here. So
I didn't mean to start coaching, but it's kind of my passion. It's kind of what I slip into.
It's all right.
I'll,
That's who
I'll
you
have this
are.
thing, and Farley will ask me. So I know you were on your Zoom with, he calls you Aunt Kathy. He says,
Okay.
he goes, what did you learn? Who else was on the call? What did you learn from them? I'm like, I feel like, you're my dad or something. I have to like report.
I know how
Carmella,
that
I wish
is.
we lived closer, I tell you, because we could get into a lot of trouble together.
We probably could.
Oh, goodness. I love it. So this has been wonderful. I love meeting up with you gals. I'm so happy that you've all jumped on this morning to chat connections over coffee. I love it. And this is what we do. We just get to know each other better. And I got to know so much more about Carmella and Debbie. And I love that. So thank you for coming on this morning. We're going to put the replay at kathybinner.com, scroll down to Connections Over Coffee, and then just tap through on the free replays there. And one thing that we want to launch in this particular group ultimately is we're all about, it's our time to rise and it's our time to give. And all three of us are already giving of our time and of our resources, and we're already giving back to our communities. But I want to actually launch a little program on how to start a nonprofit, because all of us want to leave a legacy. Because when you think about it, we work all our lives, we do all these things, we have accomplished all these things in our own right. But once we're gone, what is going to be left behind that we can leave a footprint? And so I think by creating some form of a nonprofit, even if it's in our name or in someone else's name, that we can actually leave some sort of a footprint there. And so I'll just kind of toss it out there. That's in the future down the road somewhere on how we can do that.
Okay,
So
great.
So any thoughts on that? If you want to share with me, offline or whatever, you're welcome to do that. I've created nonprofit so far, a scholarship program, because I'm all about teaching and writing. And so I'm thinking of enlarging that particular nonprofit to include a scholarship for even a business startup. See,
Okay.
right now I'm doing the nonprofit to help folks in the real estate industry, but I could expand that to actually, and I don't know that I want to have a bunch of nonprofits, because again, once you go down that path and you realize with a nonprofit, you have to like file the tax forms, and I don't want all those tax forms to file. So, so if I make the one nonprofit a little broader, it's in its reach, then I can include some other things as well. And it's a great thing to do. And this is a good one for Carmella. Mark and I have talked about doing a nonprofit in his dad's name to honor his dad. His dad had authored a book, and we just realized I now have my new bookcase. Debbie, I shared with you, I've got my new bookcase at home, and I said, Debbie's got this wonderful backdrop on her virtual screen, but I have an actual bookcase. And Mark goes, oh, he goes, you're going to do all your Zoom calls in front of the bookcase. I go, yeah. Anyway, I told him, I said, I need to get your dad's book. I need to order some of your dad's books, because he's now gone, and he wrote this book, he authored this book, and he inspired me to write. And so I need to get some more copies of his book, and that maybe every time I give away one of my books, I can package it and give one of his too, and in his honor. And so I went on Amazon to see if I could just like order 50 copies of it, to put in my bookcase to have. And it's been translated into like 5 different languages.
Yeah, it has.
I'm like, what?
What's the name of the book?
The Unpaved Road.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so
I
I
have a
was like,
copy.
yes, Debbie has a copy. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And so now, I'm thinking, where, because he's passed, where are these proceeds going?
Exactly.
We have no clue.
Back to
Mark,
Amazon.
and well, Mark is the trustee of the trust, of his dad's trust. And we're like, where are these proceeds going to? Even if it's $10, where are they going? And so anyhow, we're going to we, meaning me, I'm going to research that. Carmella gets it.
Yeah, very, very much so. I'm sure you do too, Debbie.
So anyway, so I'm gonna research that and see where the proceeds are going, because wouldn't it be great if we could start a little nonprofit in his dad's name, and maybe a little scholarship for writers to help them get published?
Oh, that gives me a great idea.
And we could do it in his dad's name, just like I did for my girlfriend Stephanie in the real estate. I have the Stephanie Mila Jenkins Initiative, because we give away a scholarship for folks to get licensed to be a real estate agent, because she had a passion for real estate. And maybe we could do, his dad's name in an initiative to keep the theme, the word initiative. You can name it anything you want, but if I kept that theme, then we could have, the Gerald Vance Initiative, which would be his dad, and maybe a scholarship to help writers get published. So you can see where, the sky is the limit on something like that. But what a legacy that could be for the family.
Oh, yeah.
To know, and Stephanie's family comes to me every year, and they said, this one thing is what keeps her memory alive, because you market that scholarship every year. They said, this is the thing that keeps her memory alive. And they said, as a family, we are so proud that you have put together this initiative in her name.
Wow, that's awesome though, to do something. And I can only imagine, but I think that's a good idea though, like in Mark's dad's honor. I mean, and that's something too that he can, he has, that keeps his father's memory alive even more so.
Well, and my point is that you can do it for yourselves. You can do it for your parents. You can do it for, at any spot in your journey. You can basically create a lasting legacy. The only thing, and again, this particular lane, the Connections Over Coffee, is where I want to do this format, because one of the big topics, and we're not going to get into that today, but one of the big topics is you have to be able to fund it once you're gone. Because if there's no funding, then there's no giving. And if there's no giving, it eventually, disappears, down the thread, and people forget about it because there's nothing, so you have to create a board around it, and you have to create funding around it so that it's not you. It takes on a life of its own, I guess. It's kind of like birthing a baby. You have to create something that then takes on a life of its own so that it continues after you're gone. And that is the legacy. But you have to have a way to fund it. If there's not a source of funding coming in.
Right.
Every time we get together, you just bless us with so much great information, things that maybe you've said before, but this time it's making it bigger, like, oh yeah, that's right, but it's amazing, absolutely amazing. And I will share this with you. Yesterday I was at our Prime Timers Christmas luncheon, right? And Pastor Tony was just speaking about Christmas. And I'm telling you, he just gave it all. And I walked out of there feeling so blessed with what he said. And for me being not a newbie, but a learning every time, Kathy, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for saying that. And I realized the other day, and I had to smile to myself. I caught one of my students quoting me, and you know how I'm always quoting Carrie, because he was my coach, whatever. And so I'll quote him, like show up, filled up, all of those little cliches that he uses all the time. And I caught one of my students quoting me, and I had to smile because I felt like I have arrived. I'm now being quoted. And it was kind of an aha moment for me, because, I've been at this, gosh, Debbie, when did we start down this path? Back in 2015, 2016
Yeah,
is when we started. And then I didn't launch until 2017, until I retired from, the salons. And so again, we've been at it for a few years, and it was just funny to hear one of my students, Kathy says, and I thought, what? So yeah.
yes.
So, and then to hear Carmella say that Farley always goes, what did you learn today?
A lot today.
But anyway, it's great conversation. And again, I'm at the very beginning stages of just deciding how I can put that together. And I can't launch too many things all at the same time. But Debbie, if you remember, I knew the 8 lanes that I wanted to be in early on. And 4 of them are totally launched with a course and a mastermind, and the other 4 are in various stages of being launched. And so the writers one is getting launched here in January. And then I want to do this one maybe later in the year with, because again, it's hard to launch too many things all at the same time. So then I want to launch this one later in the year as to how we can actually create a legacy for ourselves with a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Because it isn't hard to do. It's just a matter of filing with the state. And, there's just a few things you have to learn up front, and really I'll give you the 30,000 foot view. You have to have your charter, and you have to have your bank account, and you have to have everything in the name of whatever your initiative is going to be, whatever your nonprofit's going to be. And then you just have to be sure and file every year what you did with the money, and then after that, that's the easy part, which most people think is the hard part. Well, that's the easy part, because then the hard part is how are you going to fund it every year, and how are you going to decide who gets, the scholarship or whatever it is that you're giving away. And so it's a perfect legacy though, because once you determine how it's going to be funded, that legacy can live on for years. And we all know of legacies that live on for years. I mean, when you look at all of these, like the Cancer Society, when you look at, they all started as just a small little nonprofit that someone had a dream to launch. And they've turned into huge, huge money makers that are helping millions of people around the world on all, look at UNICEF, look at, any of these nonprofits. They all started with somebody having a dream of launching something.
Like, what is that? Stephanie, the one here in Columbus with the cancer.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't remember her last name.
And that started just, her husband launched that once she passed with cancer. He launched that, and it just took on a life of its own. And that's the key, is that it has to take on a life of its own.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what, because if it doesn't, then it kind of dies when you do.
Yeah, exactly. Carmella, I got to tell you, the first time you turned around and in your virtual background, I thought you were actually turning around to pick up some flowers to show.
That would be so nice right about now.
Well, I'm in this little coffee shop, and Debbie's in the library. Yeah, the virtual backgrounds are perfect because again, I'm here in Florida, and I don't have a lot of options on where to do my calls because I'm only in a little 1-bedroom condo. So I either have to be in the living room or in the bedroom or in the kitchen, or in the bathroom. Those are the only 4 rooms I have. And so, and then it hinders Mark. He can't walk around. So I tried to pick the furthest corner so that he had the use of the rest of the condo while I'm on my call. But then you don't have a very good backdrop when you stuff yourself in a corner somewhere. So I decided, this would a virtual background, and I tried several, and this one, when I moved, doesn't waver as much as some others, which is why I stuck with this one.
Yeah, I was noticing that with this one. They must have done something, because usually when you move, I mean, it's just really, I don't know, distorted. So
yeah, I think Zoom is doing a better job, because I do not have a green screen behind me. I just popped on the virtual background, and I'm actually in the corner of my bedroom. And so I've got the whole bedroom behind me. And again, if I move something over, see my hands disappear until it catches up. but if I move slow enough, it
Yeah.
stays right with me. So yeah, so I think Zoom has perfected, their virtual backdrops as well.
Well,
I-
Kathy, because it's beautiful where you're at, I think you should take some nice photos and upload
Yep.
them. So then you can have some Florida backgrounds, like maybe where you ride your
I
bike.
thought about
trail,
that.
Doing
Yes.
one of the bike trails. That would
Or
be
the
nice.
crepe shop or the chocolate shop.
There
Okay,
you go. There you go.
there
Yeah.
we go. And we're looking at, now, unfortunately, I don't like chocolate, so
Wow.
it wouldn't be enjoyable for me. I received a gift. We had a ladies' holiday tea at church last Saturday, and we had exchange. In my gift bag, I had a box of Thin Mints with like the chocolate
Oh,
cookies and a candy bar. And I had to tell her, I'm like, my husband is going to enjoy this because he loves the chocolate. My daughter likes chocolate. And she goes, you don't like chocolate? I'm like, no. Somebody gave me a box of
Interesting.
like hot cocoa. I took it to the church because we have new pastors and they have 4 kids. And I says, guess what I brought? And the youngest one is so cute. And I call him Mr. Cutie Pie. And he just looks at me and his dad laughs because I'm like, you're probably going to really dislike Miss Carmella because I'm always going to call you Mr. Cutie Pie because you're so cute.
when he's 35, she'll call him Mr. Cutie Pie.
I know, right? But yeah, I do not do chocolate. I do everything else but chocolate.
Interesting. Well, I'm hanging out with you, and that way I'll get all the chocolate. You can have everything else.
Caramel, I'm on it.
Isn't that funny?
I just opened because I've switched to oat coffee creamer because
Oh,
it doesn't bother my stomach. And so I just opened a bottle of chocolate caramel for my coffee, my creamer.
see, now that would be right up my alley. Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
got to tell you, boy, that cup went down real easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Debbie, are you lactose intolerant?
Yeah, to some, yeah. I
You
can,
know, I
Go ahead.
found another creamer that I have fallen in love with, and it's the nut pods.
oh,
And it's like, because I have so many issues with my digestive, because I
Yeah.
was doing the oat, which was good. This is even better than the oat, and it's called nut pods. They have one called a toasted caramel. Then they had a cinnamon swirl. I'm like, oh, I hear the angels, Ugh.
I love it.
now, where do you usually get it?
You can get it at any grocery store. I noticed Myers has it, Walmart,
Good to know.
Amazon. I mean, yeah, and it's really good. They have nice flavors and stuff, and it lasts, but it's like, it doesn't have all of that extra. Because I just actually found out that I was trying the creamer that's normally at the store, which, it kind of irritated me, but it has so much vegetable oil in it. And I didn't even realize it until after. And I'm going, all this sweet flavor, I never added sugar because it's sweet enough, the flavoring, but this helps. And I haven't had any problems with my stomach after and it's actually helped not only my stomach, but my acid reflux too.
Good to know.
Yeah,
I
I'm
will
going to
look
check it
that
out
up.
because I'm always putting stuff out for the bed and breakfast guest. And I try to have a variety because you never know what their dietary restrictions are. So I try to have a variety. So yeah, I'll check that out too.
Yeah.
Good to
Thanks.
know.
Good to know that.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on this morning. We ran a little over, but it's been so much fun, and it's just good to see everybody. I'm glad that we can Zoom like this because it's hard to meet up in person. Sometimes we're just far enough away that it's hard to meet up in person every month, and this just makes you feel connected, makes you feel like you got somebody in your corner. So I love that. So until next time, but go to kathybinner.com, scroll down, check out the free meetups, join any of those that you'd like. And of course, you guys are in some of the masterminds anyway, so jump in and we'll learn together.
Thanks,
Have a
Kathy.
great
Appreciate it.
weekend.
Carmella.
All right, we'll see everybody later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Yes,
Christmas. Have a
yes,
great
Merry
weekend.
Christmas.
You
Happy
too.
holidays.